home to more than 300,000 Somalis, but not for much longer. The Kenyan government wants Dadaab closed. It says the residents threaten Kenya's security, keeping them is expensive, and it's time they went home. The government's working with the UN's refugee arm, the UNHCR, to repatriate the refugees, purportedly on voluntary basis. But the US rights group Human Rights Watch has interviewed 100 Dadaab refugees, and their stories are worrying. HRW says the repatriation fails to meet international standards for voluntary return. That many refugees fear they'll be deported unless they go, and that the UNHCR is not giving the full picture about conditions in Somalia where the lives of the returning refugees could be in danger. In short, HRW says the process breaks international law. Uhuru Kenyatta's government has withered criticism over Dadaab for months now, but it says it's doing things by the book.
The repatriation meets international standards, and that is why we've gotten support, both verbal and the other manners of support from the international community to try and prepare logistical arrangements for the repatriation.
Joka also says HRW approached the government for its input only after completing the report. The Dadaab shutdown stalled in recent weeks amid funding and security worries in Somalia. On Thursday, though, the government said the repatriation has now resumed, and it wants this vast mass of humanity gone by 2017. Nagila, CCTV, Nairobi, Kenya.
Well, let's return to our headline story and that of the Dadaab refugee camp in Kenya, which is the world's largest refugee camp, amid reports that refugees are being pressured to leave. Well, let's get more insights and perspectives from CCTV's Abdulaziz Billah, who's now joining us live from Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. Abdulaziz, you have interacted with some of the Somali refugees that have returned from Dadaab. Do their experiences, though, reflect what is claimed or what is being claimed in the Human Rights Watch report?
Well, Beatrice, according to the report by the Human Rights Watch, what it's saying is that the voluntary repatriation of refugees is not voluntary as the name suggests, and is citing perfect examples of some of the returnees who came back to Somalia and as far as the capital Mogadishu and had to return back to the same refugee camp because they had no perfect living conditions here or in terms of bad security. That's why they went back there to the Dadaab refugee camp. Now, we have managed to talk to some of the returnees, some of the families that have returned to Somalia from Dadaab camp. Now, interestingly, we met this one family, this one lady who has 6 kids, and she has been living in Dadaab refugee camp for the past 7 years. Now, what she's telling us is that once she left the Dadaab refugee camp, her children had education, they had access to water, access to healthcare, and all the basic amenities that a human being deserves or a refugee deserves once in another country. But once they came back to Somalia, the situation changed because, for one, their status changed from initially they were famine survivors, they went to Dadaab as refugees, and they came back to Somalia and they started living as internally displaced persons in camps. So basically, what they are being deprived of the same necessities that they used to get at the Dadaab refugee camp. So for now, the situation here in Somalia for the returnees is quite complicated, and that's why authorities here are saying that they are a bit challenged in terms of admitting more refugees coming back from Kenya. That's why they're saying that the repatriation program has to be done voluntary, and the refugees who are coming back have to be given enough a send-off package so that once they come to Somalia, they can be able to start their lives afresh.
Right. CCTV's Abdulaziz Billah for us there in Mogadishu.